This is the weekly Bowflex Breakfast Club coming to you outside. It's a little hot, so I'm going to hide under this umbrella today. Today's topic, again, we are going to talk about anything and everything, but today's topic is the top 5 diet mistakes. So I'm going to open up the show by asking you what you think those are. We have so many smart people, so many people who come here week in and week out. Let me know what you think those are, and I think I would be surprised if you guys didn't hit on all of them. So, top 5 diet mistakes. Let me know what you think. I also want to start each show now. It's called the Bowflex Breakfast Club, so let me know what your healthy breakfast was. Weigh in with that. And one other thing Quinn and I were thinking of doing is, let's know who's out there. So just like a class, let's have you mark yourself as present. So just, if you're watching, if you don't mind checking in with us, just type in present, hit enter, and that will let us know you are here. Again, I'm Tom Holland, Bowflex's fitness advisor. One of my favorite things is coming to you each and every week for the full hour. I take all your fitness questions. Again, we have Quinn in Nautilus Bowflex headquarters. She is going to be monitoring your comments, your questions. She will feed them to me. I think I can start seeing, though. I think Deborah just checked in. Deborah, how are you? Welcome, Jay. Hey, I think my eyesight's improving. So, welcome, Jay. Welcome, Deborah. Top 5 diet mistakes, you guys. Let me know what you think they are. Give me what you think one of the top diet mistakes is, and that's how we're going to open up the show. But as always, if you have a question about your equipment, if you have a question about your program, if you have a question about anything and everything that relates to your fitness goals, let me know, all right? That is what this full hour is about. Amy, welcome. Wendy, I think I'm able to see this stuff today. I don't know what's going on. Maybe my carrots, eating my carrots are paying off. Welcome to everyone. And let me know if I'm mangling anyone's name, Quinn. So we'll let them weigh in a little bit longer. So 2 things to start, well, 3 things. All right, here's your 3 things to start the show. Mark yourself as present. Quinn and I are discussing maybe over time if we can get some fun giveaways. That's how we will start to potentially give things away. If you weigh in, I want to know what your healthy breakfast was or your unhealthy breakfast. Let's have honesty. If you had a donut this morning, weigh in. I got to say, one of my sons had a sleepover last night. I got them donuts, okay? So work hard, play hard. And then the third thing is, let me know what you think one of the top diet mistakes is. What do we have so far, Quinn?
We've got a lot of people chiming in with their good morning. We also have Deborah, who says, top mistake, eating too little.
I love it.
And Jay said something very similar. He said the worst diet mistakes is starvation.
So smart, you guys. I love it. I love it. Yes. Those 2 are absolutely 2 of them. They tie in, so you could consider them one of the top 5 that I have. I'm going to leave it open a little bit longer, so I want to hear other people's ideas, but you're absolutely right. And that goes counter to what most diet books tell you, right? It's all about deprivation. It's all about cutting out entire food groups almost and different things. So you guys are right on the money. I love it. Again, this is the Bowflex Breakfast Club. If you're new, welcome. Weigh in or hide. You're having too much fun already, Quinn. So yeah, Deborah and you regulars, you're entertaining Quinn to no end.
We've got Joy chiming in over here. She says, good morning. She just had a bowl of oatmeal with a handful of blueberries and a couple sliced strawberries. Jay says he hasn't eaten breakfast yet, so Jay, you got to get on it. And Wendy said, diet mistake, fats make you fat. Not true.
Right. And here's the great line I heard this week. And, you know, what's amazing to me is you think you've heard all these great lines and things, and I'm constantly learning and learning new things, too. Quinn, it was a great line. A woman said, you are not fat, you have fat. Said, you have fingernails, you are not fingernails. So it's such a good way to look at it, is that you're not fat. You have fat. You may have fat to lose. We all have it. So just saying someone's fat, it's such a cool way I thought, of approaching it. You are not that thing. That thing does not define you, and it certainly is not something that you cannot change, and that's what this show's about. So I thought, what a cool line, what a cool way to kind of start the show. You are not fat. I have body fat, everything. So it's all relative, obviously, but do not define yourself with that term, and far too often we do those things. So, yeah, I love it. And let me go to the number one diet mistake. You go on a diet. There it is. I even hesitated, Quinn, to use that term because I dislike that term, diet. I'm even getting away from the term clean eating because no one knows what that means. So when I talk about diet, what I'm talking about is healthy eating. That's what we're talking about today. So healthy eating. Even that is confusing to so many people, so we will clarify that today. But the number one diet mistake is that you go on a diet. And we've talked about this on the show many, many times. You are successful at your diet. The problem is diets have an end date. If your diet has an end date, it's flawed from the get-go. Okay? That is such a great way to look at it. If you have an end date, if you say, you know, I'm going to go on this day for X number of weeks. Now, I get it. I know some of you out there, I won't mention names, go on these jumpstart things. I'm okay with that, but only if it works for you. I was talking with a client this morning about real-world applications, right? So, and he was talking about a well-known fitness person who did an article, and it was these crazy exercises that you would never do. Now, that's not super helpful, right? If they're giving you exercises that really don't do much, and they may sound cool, and they're different, you may never have heard of them, they're being creative, but if you can't apply it, if it doesn't really work for you, what's the point? So, fad diets out there, they just, you're destined to be behind the 8 ball when you're done. And we've talked about this on the show. When you go on a restrictive diet, you lose muscle. You lose weight in the form of water, in the form of body fat, but also in the form of valuable metabolically active muscle. And that's not good. So you are, in essence, lowering your metabolism by dieting. So the scale moves, but when you go back to eating the same amount, not more, the same amount, if you've gone on enough restrictive diets or done them long enough, you've lowered your metabolism because you've eaten into muscle stores. And you're going to most likely overeat after. So, real simple. Number one, don't go on restrictive diets. Don't waste your money. Don't torture yourself. And that's what I get frustrated with, is because I see you out there, people out there who go on these diets, and they do them, and they suffer, and then they go back to eating the same way they were, and they gain weight because they've lost muscle.
Yeah, we got some other great suggestions on here. We got Deborah chiming in with her breakfast, avocado toast with Evo and lemon juice and a protein shake with banana and peanut butter powder. Yum. Jay said a mistake is no diet consistency. Deborah says Jay needs to get on that breakfast. It's already 11 in NYC, Jay. Come on. And Ken is checking in from St. Louis.
Awesome. Who just checked in?
Ken did.
Ken, welcome. Love the people checking in and hearing where you're from too. That's really cool because we got London, we've got Alaska, all over the country, all over the world, and that's what's so amazing about being able to come to you this way. Well, the number 2 diet mistake that I wrote down is skipping breakfast. Now, yes, there are people that are skinny that don't eat breakfast, but it's not just about being skinny, right? So we have to look at food in a couple different ways. Sure, it can be something to enjoy and to sit down. I get that. I'm Italian. I understand eating. Italian-Irish. So, you know, my Italian grandmother, oh my gosh, do I understand eating. But it's also fuel, okay? So can you be skinny? Can you be fit and not eat breakfast? Sure. But is that the healthiest way to go through life? Probably not, right? Because we need to fuel our bodies and also our brains, you guys. Our brains run on glucose. If we don't feed our bodies and our mind, you're just not going to work as well. The body's not going to work as well. The brain is not going to work as well. So that's why it's so important to eat breakfast. I know you're not hungry. I'm not hungry most times. And I had the same exact breakfast, I think, as maybe it was Joy. I had the oatmeal. I had the blueberries. I threw some seeds on it. And it is a great slow-releasing carbohydrate that we talked about to start you off in a great way. When you don't eat enough, that's when the wheels fall off later in the day. there is nothing wrong with eating late at night, you guys, if you still take in a certain number of calories. Our bodies, we don't go into bare hibernation mode when we sleep, okay? This is a fallacy. It's just not proven. The truth of it is most people take in an enormous amount of calories at night. Listen, I take in more calories at night than I do in the morning, and I'm constantly trying to switch that to push more calories to the beginning of the day. And that can be challenging. I get it. But try not to skip your breakfast. That's number 2. Number 1, going on the fad diet. Number 2 is skipping breakfast. 2 simple things to change, right? Don't go on that fad diet. Don't go on a diet that has an end date unless, because I know you out there who've done this and do this, unless it's a true jump start. But just be careful with that term jump start and doing that because, again, you don't want to set yourself up for failure.
We've got a great question from Candace Tom. He says, what are your thoughts on the keto diet?
All the rage right now. Don't like it. Don't like it. You know, I get it. There's some bad science in there. Keto diet is about going into fat burning. Don't want to bore everyone with the science behind it, but you don't need it. You know, you don't need it. It's not going to work for most. It's not always the healthiest thing, depending on what type of keto diet you follow. But again, we're selling books, you guys. If you're following one of those things. What did we talk about last week? We talked about your healthy carb and your healthy protein and your healthy fat. Those are the 3 things we need to look at. That is the healthy way to approach it. So I don't even want to put a name in front of that. So do I need to... Listen, I don't follow that. I don't follow a ketogenic diet. I don't follow an Atkins diet. I don't follow anything like that. Again, the one that I'm most closely aligned with, if I look at the way I'm eating, it's the Mediterranean diet. You know, and that there's so much research into that and how healthy, and it goes to just what we talked about. Healthy carb, healthy protein, healthy fat, some alcohol, some red wine, things like that, you know. So it's not about deprivation. It's about food quality and it's about food quantity. So every diet works, you guys. Does the keto diet work? Sure. You follow these things because they're restrictive, guys. I can put you on a Twizzler and peanut butter diet and you will lose weight, okay? Because when you restrict foods, you can only take in so many calories of that one thing or 2 things. So, does it work? Sure. Would I personally follow it? No.
We've got some other great comments here, Tom. Ken says he eats 5 meals a day. He exercises with his M7, and he just started Couch to 5K, that app we were talking about last week, and he is down 55 pounds since February.
Oh, my gosh. Let us all give Ken in St. Louis. Ken, that is amazing. Guys, we have, Quinn, I mean, how many success stories? This show is one of the most powerful things because we have so many people like Ken, and Ken, that is awesome. We talked about, I don't know if you were here last week, but we talked about that very thing, the Couch to 5K. What a great way to get people started. And 55 pounds, that is amazing. You must feel so amazing. So thank you, Ken, for sharing that and for letting people who are watching know, A, that you did it, and B, how you did it. That's what this show is about. I say this each and every week. Yes, I will give you the science. Yes, I will give you my experience. That is what I'm bringing to you. But I am also going to bring you my clients' experiences, and I want you guys to share just the way Ken did, because that is what's so powerful. That is the success stories. That's something you can follow. So, Ken, that is awesome. Congrats, congrats, congrats. That is not easy to do, but you're going to find it gets easier and easier as you get better and better at it, and as you see results, you guys. So that is awesome.
Yeah, congrats, Ken. That is so awesome. If you're in the comments right now, let's all give Ken a congrats, a thumbs up, a good job.
Yeah.
Candace also said she's seen, in reference to the keto diet question, she said she saw so many people doing the keto diet, so it's kind of weird that it just popped up out of nowhere, but thanks for giving your thoughts.
Yeah.
And Deborah said, don't forget about the red wine in the diet.
You know, it's, you know what, I want to be always giving you guys the latest research. So the research that I've always seen, or the main thrust of that, was that people who don't drink don't live as long as people who do. But the new interesting take on that is, well, maybe the people who don't drink stop drinking. So it's very interesting. So listen, if you have an issue with alcohol, for most people, alcohol is not a great thing, right? It doesn't lead to great things. It leads to overeating. It leads to so it's a very tricky subject. But again, if you look at the Mediterranean diet and people who do drink, everything in moderation, you guys. That's great news. That's great news, and that's why these diets can be so... Listen, I would never deprive myself in that way because I want to eat. And you know what? This goes to number 3, you guys. Let me go right to it. So the third diet mistake, and you guys alluded to it, just put it in different ways at the start of the show, is you don't eat frequently enough. Okay? We live in this weird world. Like, if you believe in evolution, we had to hunt and gather our food. Well, now food is so plentiful. Do you know, for the first time in history, the last couple of years, we now, starvation, we have obesity and overweight has overtaken starvation. We have more people who are eating too much than not getting enough food. So that's a crazy world we live in. So I get it. We kind of have to train our bodies, but eating every 2 to 3 hours is, again, it's fueling your body, right? If you wait till the tank is empty, again, I'm going to go to that horribly simple analogy of the car. If you wait till it's empty, you have a problem, right? And that's where you overeat. That's where you grab for that quick sugar fix at 3 o'clock. And that's where then you have the sugar spikes, and that's where the overeating comes from. So if you eat every couple hours, 3 hours, maybe 4, but that's kind of pushing it for most people, you're going to feel better. You're going to perform better, and you're going to not overeat the way you would if you go long stretches of time. We talked about this last week. Intermittent fasting is at night, okay? Breakfast breaks the fast. We make these concepts complicated when they shouldn't and aren't, but that's just the world we live in. Food is plentiful, and that's become a problem. So, number 1, don't go on the fad diets. Number 2, don't skip breakfast. And number 3, don't eat more frequently. 5 to 6 medium-sized meals. That's a fun thing. You go, oh my gosh, it's time to eat again. When I truly have success with clients and I put them on that 5 to 6 medium-sized meals, what they say is, I can't believe I have to eat again, yet they lose weight because they're taking in 300, 400, 500 calories instead of 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 when the wheels fall off. So that is just a great way to look at it. And all of this, you guys, should be great news to you. It's not about deprivation. It's about eating more good stuff frequently. How cool is that?
Awesome, Tom. Mary's chiming in from the UK. She says good morning. Good morning. And she wants to know what today's topic is. She's a little late.
Yeah, today's topic, and again, Mary, welcome. We love the from over the pond weighing in. Today's topic is top 5 diet mistakes. But we can talk about anything, Mary, anything you want to talk about, anything you want to share with your program. We love to hear it. Ken just shared how he lost 55 pounds, and he did that in a bunch of different ways using the Couch to 5K program as one. But yeah, so we're just throwing out the top 5 diet mistakes, and I need to qualify that after we started it by saying I hate the word diet. I don't believe in it, only when it's talking about eating, right? That's what a diet is. It's not deprivation. Deprivation doesn't work. Eat more quality food, and that is going to, that's what's going to work long term. And that brings us to number 4, right to number 4. You don't eat enough real healthy food. What always blows me away is when I will be having a consultation or just talking with someone about eating, and they'll say, oh, I can't, that's too much. Too much vegetables, too much fruit. You don't gain weight generally by eating too many vegetables or too much fruit. Promise you, that's not where it's going to happen. It's just not calorically dense enough. When I train for a race, if you go to the extremes, and I talk about this is why I go to the extremes, because you learn so much. I have to actually, when you train for an Ironman or an ultra endurance race, you have to actually have more bad stuff if you're truly burning that many calories and eating healthy, because you can't get enough calories from just vegetables or fruit. So that is such an important tip, you guys, is Number 4, you don't eat enough healthy food, portion-wise I'm talking about, right? So people will say like, well, at 3 o'clock I'll say, what do you have for that 4th meal? And they'll say, well, I have 1 apple. And I'll say, that's not enough. Have 2 apples. Have the apple with the peanut butter. Have the apple with the almond butter. Have the apple with a banana. Have it with cheese. But eat more healthy stuff rather than deprive yourself of the good stuff. Because what we've done is calorically dense food is throwing us off, the processed food. So now we think, well, we can't have a lot of the good stuff. And it's such a weird thing, and I guarantee you, if you start sitting down and saying, hey, this is healthy, I'm going to eat a lot of this. You know, whether it's eggs, you know, or lean sources of protein, whatever it is, eat a lot of the good stuff. Trust me, it'll work.
Joy says one of her bigger problems is that it's time to eat again, OMG.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly it, Joy. And people have that response. I've said clients in the past, when I put them on that eating plan, they'll complain and say, I'm not hungry. And I say, you can't skip that one, right? So if you eat at 7 and at 10 and then at 1, if you try to skip that 1 o'clock one or any of those throughout the day, generally what I found in my experience is that's when the wheels fall off. Again, you're not going to you let that blood sugar drop down too much and then problems occur, right? So what a great problem to have. But we're so used to hearing that message that it's less. When you eat frequently, when you eat healthy food frequently, then it becomes much easier. And I promise you, if it's not processed foods, if it's not high in sugar, and you eat a lot of it, you will find over time you will make better choices and you will continue to lose weight. And again, guys, what do we talk about each week on this show? It's not just about losing weight, okay? So yes, we want to lose weight. We want to be like Ken and have these great success stories. But what Ken has done for his body is so much more than just pure weight loss. He feels better, I guarantee it. His joints are better. He's carrying around less weight. So running is not bad for us. Carrying around extra weight, that's really taxing on our joints. Not running 30 minutes 3 times a week. That is natural. That is okay. That is not necessary. You can do whatever you want. But these are such great points, and I'm going to hammer them home each and every week. Each and every week, I'm going to have the same 10 to 15 messages because over time, when you start to apply them, I promise you, they work. And this is the conversation I was having with the client this morning. The answers, you guys, are relatively simple. It's the application that can be challenging. But I'm here to give you permission to eat frequently. I'm here to give you permission to eat more good food. Don't feel bad about sitting down. I love it. I love sitting down with my friends and just chowing down on a huge omelet with vegetables and stuff like that. And they'll have 1 egg. I go, what are you doing? This is healthy. Eat more of this stuff.
Yeah. We've got a great question from Deborah Tom. She says, off topic, but give her your best advice for PS heel pain.
So what kind of heel pain? Heel pain?
PS.
Oh, geez Louise. If it's plantar fasciitis is what I'm guessing, you got to get on top of that. So there's nothing off topic, Deborah. You should know that. So please, everyone out there, even though I give you a topic each week, I want you to ask just the way Deborah did, whatever question you have. That's why I hesitate to even give you a topic of the week, because I don't want you to think that you can't ask anything and everything. That's what this hour is about. That's why we go a full hour. I want as much as you guys need. So plantar fasciitis, you guys, real quickly, it's the bottom of your foot. Your plantar fascia runs underneath your foot, keeps that arch. It goes underneath that arch, so it goes from your toes to your heel bone. If you get out of bed in the morning and it hurts, that generally quite often is plantar fasciitis. It's inflammation of that fascia. If you let that go too long, it can take a long time to fix. So a couple things, Deborah. Ice, so it's inflamed, right? So take a water bottle, freeze it, and in front of the TV a couple times a day, roll that, barefoot, roll that ice bottle underneath your foot. That's going to help reduce the inflammation. Advil, you want to take the non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, right? Again, bring down the inflammation. Then you want to be careful if you're training the way you are, Deborah, I believe. So the running, the pounding, you want to try to switch what you're doing, ideally. So when I have a client who presents with plantar fasciitis, if they're a runner, we're going to bike a little more, we're going to swim a little more, which you love. So you're going to change up that modality, a little less pounding. And then one final thing is stretch your calves. So a lot of times from the running or anything like that, the calves get tight, they pull up on that heel bone, and that can add to it too. So ice, Advil, change your modality of exercise, but try to minimize the pounding and stretch those calves. Great question, love it. Any other off-topic questions that aren't off-topic?
We got some comments here. Doris says she's late, but she made it. Good morning.
Good morning.
John Smith says, hey, Tomo, keep going. You're doing a great job. You have managed to completely get me excited about doing triathlons again in my 50s, and it's all down to finally getting my nutrition sorted out. I'm slimmer and feeling fitter now than I have for over 10 years. Well done. And he signs it, John, in the UK.
John, thank you, sir. Made my day. Ken and John and everyone else weighing in, thank you, and thank you for sharing, John. And I have to pitch it because it may help you. My most recent book, if you don't have it, is Swim, Bike, Run, Eat. So it's all about the nutrition for triathlon. And truthfully, it's even though it's Swim, Bike, Run, Eat, you can read that book, you guys. It's about everything we're talking about. It's about healthy eating. It's about fueling your workouts. But the primary sport is for triathlon. So thank you, John. You made my day, all of you guys, with your success stories, because that's what this is about. I need to hear your success stories. I want to hear that you've taken some of this advice, some of the other people's advice, and just the motivation. Listen, it's about finding your why, finding your purpose, right? If for John it's triathlon, Deborah and you regulars know that I do triathlon because it forces me to cross-train. I just started yesterday, so hey, this is something new. For Father's Day, I got a paddleboard. I tried that a couple times in the past, was not good at it. My balance was really kind of off. So I'm going to challenge myself. So yesterday, I went out for the first time, and I was scared, you guys. Big body of water, and me and a paddleboard, and I stood there and I said, I got to get out there and do it. And you know what? It's awesome. So at 48 years old, I'm adding this new thing to my routine that I'm sure John can appreciate, being in his 50s, and I'm walking the walk. So when I tell you guys to challenge yourself, when I tell you guys to mix it up, I'm going to be doing it too. So I'm so excited to add this new thing, and it's balance, and it's coordination, and it's being outside. Oh my gosh, how great. The only thing I'm worried about is strapping it to the top of my truck. I just, don't want it blowing off. Luckily, I don't have to drive too far, which is awesome. So my point is, again, guys, mix it up, challenge yourself. I literally stood and stared at the water, and I almost didn't go. I'm always honest with you guys. Like, I almost said, I'll come back. And then I said, you know what? You got to face your fears. You got to do it. And it was an incredible experience. So just another example, and I want you guys to do that too.
We've got some more questions from the audience here, Tom. Manny asks, what are your thoughts on the L-arginine supplement?
Yeah. My thoughts on supplements, Manny, is supplements are supplements. So they're okay. I always preface every supplement discussion with saying we try to get it from real food first, whether it's protein, whether it's things like that. But I'm okay with that. So you're a little above what other people would do. But supplementation, listen, I have good friends who are sports doctors, and I always give the example of glucosamine chondroitin. There are two things you can take, and some research shows that glucosamine and chondroitin taken together might not only prevent the breakdown of cartilage, it may help repair it. Now, there are a lot of, not a lot, I would say if you ask 10 sports doctors about that, 5 will say take it, 5 will say it's a waste of money. I'm willing to take that chance if it potentially might work, all right? Same thing with those type of supplements. If you're trying to put on muscle, especially amino acids, things like that, totally fine. As long as it doesn't hurt you and you do your research and ask me, and I'll give you my opinion on it as well, totally fine.
We got another great question from Mark. He says, "Hi Tom, what's your advice for dealing with shin splints?"
Ooh, so Mark, that was my number one thing. I've told this story many times. I will repeat it again because it will help. And as you hear the dog bark, so we are outside. My neighbor likes to lock the dog out, which drives me up the wall. I may have to run over and let him in, either to my house or his. So shin splints. Shin splints, I sat on the bench from about when I was in about 6th or 7th grade, I started presenting with them, and throughout high school. So for years, I did too much too soon. My coaches didn't know what they were doing, whether it was football or soccer or whatever, and I couldn't run. So to think that today I've done 50-mile races, that I do Ironmans, that I don't have shin splints is insane. And I always think back to that when I have someone who tells me they can't do something because of X pain. So shin splints, quite often, Mark, the primary reason, now there's many different reasons, but it's too much too soon. So if you're running, and actually if you could weigh in and tell us what you're doing, that will help me a little bit. But they can be fixed. You can get through it. You just don't want to work through it. But by and large, Mark, it's running too much too soon. So let us know. Are you a runner? Is my first question to you, and then we'll keep going from there.
Dora chimed in. She said, "I've always heard my doctors tell patients that are older to increase protein. Can you clarify on the amount of protein you need to intake according to your weight?"
Who is that, Dora?
Yes.
Dora, that was number 5. Dora just went to number 5. Number 1, don't go on fad diets. Number 2, don't skip breakfast. Number 3, eat more frequently. Number 4, eat more real food. Number 5, eat more protein. We talked about this on the show before. I will talk about it probably every week because it is that important, you guys. Your muscles are made up of protein. If you don't eat enough protein, especially as we get older, the term is sarcopenia. That means you lose muscle mass. So when people say to me, "Tom, I don't get it. I'm 50. I'm doing the same. I'm exercising, but I'm gaining weight," quite often is because they're not doing enough strength training. They're not building enough muscle. And they're not taking in enough protein to help build that muscle. You need the building blocks, right? So you want to do strength training, and you want to eat enough protein. Now, there's a lot of conflicting information out there about how much. Bodybuilders do an insane amount, okay? Bodybuilders do anywhere from 1 to 2 grams of protein per pound that they weigh. So we go to a 200-pound bodybuilder, he may take in 200 to 400 grams or more of protein. That's a lot. I personally don't believe you need that. So my rule of thumb is somewhere around half your body weight in grams of protein. So if you weigh 150 pounds, about 75, 70, even 60 to 75 grams of protein per day is going to be a great benchmark for most people. If you exercise more, you may need a little bit more. And when you think about it, we talk about this each week too. If you're doing the 5 to 6 medium-sized meals a day and you're taking in 70 grams of protein, it's about 10 to 15 grams per meal. So do you guys see how this starts to come together? Do you start to see how everything we talk about, this becomes doable? So we're going to eat 5 to 6 medium-sized meals a day. You're going to take in roughly half your body weight in protein per day, and you're going to spread that out over 5 to 6 meals, because we talk about what do I want you to think about each and every time you sit down to eat. What is my healthy carb, and what is my healthy protein, and you can add in what is my healthy fat. But you might not be taking in fats at each and every meal, most likely. So the carb and the protein is doable. And there you have it. Now we're breaking it down. We're taking the research, we're simplifying it, and then we're making it doable. Because the information, you guys, if I don't give you information that you can use, who cares, right? So I hope that helps.
Well, yeah, Mark was able to clarify his shin splint question for you. He said he runs about 30 minutes a day, but now he can't. And he weight trains as well, but he's trying to up his cardio over and above, and he also uses the Max Trainer.
Awesome. So I'm going to guess, Mark, that you were running on consecutive days, maybe not every day, but especially as we get older, I rarely ever run 2 days in a row. So non-consecutive days. So if you think about it, you could run 3 days. You can run Monday, Wednesday, Friday. If you want to throw in one consecutive day, that can be okay. But it's just a great way and reason to mix it up even more, right? So I'm going to stand up paddleboard 1 day a week. I'm going to run a couple times a week. I'm going to get on my Max a couple times, and it's going to change. So we talk about, I don't care how healthy your cardio modality is. If you're a swimmer and you only swim, you're going to have issues. You're going to have shoulder issues. You're going to have imbalances. So it goes back to what Mark and I were talking about triathlon. That is forced cross-training. So this is just a great reason, again, to mix it up, because the more we do, the less likely we are to get injured, the more likely we are to keep with it, because we're not going to get bored out of our minds, and you're gonna get greater results. How cool is that? So for most of you runners out there, unless you're a really high-level runner, try not to run on consecutive days. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You can do cardio on those other days. Just mix it up and throw that strength training in. You guys are great today. This is awesome.
Yeah, Dora's got another question about tip number 5, eat more protein. How do you feel about protein from plants and protein from meat?
I love it. And, I have friends who are vegans, vegetarians, all over the map. I don't seek out meat, it's harder to get the amount of protein from plant-based sources, but it can be done. Again, we talked about Rich Roll, who's a well-known author, endurance athlete, vegan, I take a lot of Vega, I can never pronounce it right, products. So I get some of my protein from those plant-based sources. Absolutely good. It's whatever you want. I am never going to say, you have to do this or you can't do that. So I get chicken. Personally, I get fish. I love salmon, tuna. But I know many people don't want any of that. So that's perfectly fine. So here's the thing. If you are vegan or vegetarian, just be sure that you get in what you need to, that you do your homework, because it just takes a lot more knowledge to get in all the things you need to get in through those sources, but it can all be done. And it's all about being healthy. And listen, plant-based diets, here's one thing, I don't get in enough sleep, which is probably shocking. So that's one thing I know I can do better. And if you really look at the research, people who don't eat meat generally live longer. I mean, I still believe if they're lean sources of meat, I think that research can be skewed a little bit. But going to plant-based sources for protein, perfect. And there's so many other, pea protein, hemp protein, so many different ways to get it in. Absolutely. Whatever works for you.
Deborah says it's vegan.
This is like the third time, or at least, that she's clarified for me, and I could see that one. Yes, and I'll still screw it up, Deborah. So it's one of those things I just can't pronounce, no matter how many times I practice. So you guys have been so on the money. Yeah. Is anything else, Quinn?
Yeah, I was going to say, Wendy chimed in a little earlier and said she so agrees with you about facing your fears. I always say to myself, I love my fears.
Oh my gosh, Wendy. To me, it's truly what life is about, right? And they don't have to be crazy fears, right? But things that you say, yeah, just those fears like that I had yesterday, just a little apprehension, let's call it, right, about doing something. This is what I am in the business for. This is what I got my master's in, the sports psychology, the self-efficacy. If there's one topic that I will hammer home to no end with you guys, it's self-efficacy. It is situational confidence. It is, and this is what we do for our kids, this is what we do for ourselves. When we face our fears, when we accomplish anything, we get confident. So there's approach and avoidance, right? You either approach a problem or you avoid it. And far too often, human nature, it's a heck of a lot easier to avoid it. I come from a Catholic family where if you don't talk about it, it doesn't happen, right? So avoidance is, part of the whole religion, at least in my experience. And so I had to retrain myself to go towards the problem, right? Go towards that challenge. And start small, you guys. That's what the problem is. Sometimes, listen, you should have big goals, but to get to that big goal, you need small goals, because you can't continually fail, and I don't even like that word, as we've talked about. But it's all about challenging yourself and realizing you can achieve so much more than you think. That's how we end the show almost every week here. So yes, Wendy, I love it. And I want to hear more of you out there talking about your challenges and your fears, and put them out there. And I guarantee you, you would be surprised at what you can do.
Yeah, Manny's got a great question. He said he's been consistent with healthy eating, cardio, and strength training, but he finds it very hard to lose belly fat. Any recommendations?
Keep doing what you're doing, and it will come. It will absolutely come. Unfortunately, it is the last place that most people, especially men, lose weight. The last 5 pounds for most guys especially are in the abdomen. But if you stick to it, and the more you eat a little bit healthier, tiny bit more cardio, don't do one thing in excess, but it's consistency, and you will get there. I promise. It takes time. The older we get, the more challenging it is. If you drink alcohol, that is and I know this. I know when I drink wine, if it's going to go anywhere, it's going to go right here, nowhere else. So keep doing what you're doing. Healthy eating, continue the cardio, strength training. If you really, really want, if I have a client who comes to me and says that that's their goal, is really flat stomach, and they drink a lot of alcohol or even moderate, cutting that out is such a quick way to get there, or really limiting it. I don't like to cut, I talk about moderation, but that is, alcohol will generally go right there. So just be careful with that if you're a beer drinker, wine drinker, whatever. That makes that flat stomach a lot more difficult. Great questions. Anything else, Quinn? Any other interesting comments?
Nope, not right now.
All right, awesome. So you guys have been, what an amazing, we got about 17 more minutes, which is awesome. So just to recap, and again, nothing off topic, so jump in right now as we get towards the end of the hour with anything and everything you want to talk about. But 5 top, and let's switch it now. Let's take the word diet out. Top 5 eating mistakes, right? Going on a restrictive diet, number 1. Number 2, skipping breakfast. Start your day off well, you guys. And you know what? When I had my healthy breakfast this morning, every time I eat something healthy, I said this to my boys the other day, it's like you did a workout. Here's the line I came up with many years ago. It is much easier to keep 500 calories out of your mouth than it is to burn it off. Now, you can reframe that the other way. When you eat a healthy breakfast, a healthy meal, you just did something so good for yourself, for your body, to fuel it. And you are much less likely, if you have that 400 calorie, 500 calorie breakfast with the oatmeal and the berries and some protein, that's a workout. You just did like an hour or more in just eating. So reframe it that way. Getting on, I want us to get away from, I have to get on the max, or I have to get on my tread climber to burn off what I ate. Let's not do that anymore. Let's just get on it because it feels good and because it does so many other things. I get it. That's part of the exercise thing. But over time, I want you all to get away from that. I go for a run because it makes me feel good. I work out because I know it's good for me. I don't punish myself, which far too many people do, and that's what exercise is, and that's why they don't like it. It's because they're punishing themselves for overeating or eating something that they feel bad about. Let's get away from that. Let's get more towards the 70-30, the 80-20. 80% of the time eating lots and lots of healthy food. 20% of the time having that treat and enjoying it. Okay? That's the way to go through life. What did I end up on? You don't eat frequently enough was number 3. You don't eat enough real food, number 4, and you don't take in enough protein, number 5. My gosh, you guys, 5 points. I promise you, if you stick to those, make that part of your overall philosophy, there's no restrictive diets, and great things will happen.
Mark asks, breakfast before or after your morning workout?
Oh my gosh, great question. And I love this. And guys, we're going to talk, and ladies, when I say guys, I mean everyone, by the way. It's the overarching, non-sexual, asexual term. Whatever works for you, Mark. How's that for an answer that you almost never hear? It's whatever works for you. Some people who get up super early, if you're getting up and working out at 5, 6, 7 a.m., they'll say, well, eat an hour before exercise. You're going to set your alarm clock and do that? So unless you're doing a super hard, super long workout, many people can get away with not eating too much. But listen to your body, Mark. If you find yourself dragging, if you find yourself lightheaded, if you're doing a real challenging workout and you need to fuel, then do so. What I don't like, Mark, is the articles out there that say you have to exercise first thing in the morning on an empty stomach because then you burn more fat. Well, they've done studies that show that people who try to do that consistently don't burn as many calories because they don't have any fuel. They don't have enough fuel to get them through. So because they're not fueled up, it affects their workout. So whatever works for you, Mark, it doesn't matter. I mean, what I do want you to do is refuel after regardless, right? So I want you to take in some protein, some carbohydrate after your workout. Personally, I am, unless I'm doing a long workout, Mark, I work out and then I come home and I do my breakfast. I'm not someone who needs to fuel up, again, unless it's a super long workout. But if you need that little toast with some almond butter, if you need a banana, something simple to fuel that workout, then that's what you're going to do. Great question. Keep them coming, you guys. I love it. Anything else that fuel anyone?
Yeah, we've got Richard Izzo chiming in.
Yeah.
He said, looking good, Tom. This has been shared on the Tough Man Half Triathlon site.
Rich Izzo, again, good friend. And if you guys are looking for, we got some triathletes out there. What blows me away, everybody, is so Rich is a race director for this race. Been friends with him again. He's a chiropractor, great athlete, great person, and there are just so many options. I was clicking around. There's so many races. When Rich and I started in this business many years ago, there were just a couple races, and they all filled up really quickly. Now there's Tough Mudders and Mud Runs and Rich's Tough Man Triathlons and Kid Triathlons, and there's just so many options. And I say that each week on this show is I'm here to give you those options. When someone tells you, hey, you have to do this or you have to do that, no, you need to get your heart rate up. Whatever way you want to do that. Is it Zumba? Is it the tread climber? Is it jumping rope? Is it doing a triathlon? Is it all of the above? So that's the way to do it.
We've got some great words of wisdom from Dora. She says, also, eat until you're satisfied, not until you're stuffed. Deborah's got a great tip. She says, and use a smaller plate to help prevent overeating. Candace chimed in with some life experience. She said, if I go off the rails and find myself making a lot of unhealthy choices, I just reset at the next meal and don't beat myself up about it. It took me a while to get there, though I definitely shake myself over bad food choices for a long time.
Who said that? Because that was so great. And they were all great,
Candace.
buddy. Candace did? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and you know what, Candace? We've talked about this too. I was there before too. I was an all or nothing person, and that's the problem is we need to continually go back to moderation. So far too many people will have that treat, the breakfast, the lunch, and go, you know what, oh my gosh, I just overate, the whole day is ruined. And it's not. And the people that have the physiques that you want that are truly healthy have embraced exactly what Candace just said. And I'm one of them. And I had that logic too back in the day when I was really figuring out how to do this. I was the same way because, oh my gosh, I failed. You go, I failed. I had 6 cookies. And you go, well, since I had 6 cookies at noon, the day's shot, I'm going to go to McDonald's, I'm going to have this, I'm going to have that. No. It's a 24-hour cycle and a 7-day cycle. You know, if one meal is bad, eat better for the rest of the day. And don't go into that all or nothing, beat yourself up. Candace is so on the money, and I love it. Thank you for sharing that, because so many people have that philosophy, especially if you're following a fad diet. And listen, another line I use all the time, dietitians, whatever, trainers will say, do a 3-day intake and tell me what you eat. Greatest works of fiction ever written. You either eat perfectly or you lie about what you eat. So I get it. So Candace is so on the money. There is no failure. And if you go by the 70-30, in other words, 70% of the time eating really healthy, 30% of the time, then you don't beat yourself up. Then you're enjoying those treats, and they are treats. So great point. And there was a couple before that. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, John just asks, we hear a lot about sugar intake. Are there fruits that should be avoided?
My gosh, you guys are good today. No, not in my opinion. And, send hate mail to th@teamholland.com. My son came home from school and was saying how the teachers were talking about this very topic, fruits and sugars, and you shouldn't drink orange juice. Okay, guys, it is healthier to eat an orange than drink orange juice. I shouldn't even say healthier. You take in less calories, right? So I give my kids orange juice in the morning because they're not going to eat an orange. And there are so many vitamins and minerals that are healthy in there. If we're going to get sugars, where am I going to get my sugar from? Fruit. Natural, right? I add no sugar personally to anything because I'm getting my sugars. And I truly believe, by the way, my boys were raised on fruit. I've talked about it before. I would cut up fruit when they came home from school. They would have a big plate. To this day, they still have it. It's right there for them. And I believe their taste buds are such that they actually enjoy the taste. And the super sweet processed foods, they don't enjoy as much. They still have it, but they'll take a couple bites. So it's a very interesting, that's my own little experiment and experience. But the short answer, was it John Quinn, is no.
Yep.
Yeah. And they talk about, we get into the GI, the index of foods. If you take, so people say bananas, too high in sugar, you can't eat it. If you can't have a banana, all hope is lost, in my opinion. And when you take something like a banana and you pair it with protein, that changes how the body kind of deals with it. I'll leave it at that. So taking a banana, an apple, and pairing it with a protein. Again, I will always go back to the peanut butter, the almond butter type things, because that's what I enjoy, and it's simple and easy. Yeah, that's the way to do it. Such a great question, and you know what? People will debate that till the end of time. But my thing is, if you're not eating a lot of processed foods, then the sugar in the fruits is absolutely okay.
Yep, we got, Doran said she tried to cut completely off of her treats. She tried to cut them all out, but it wasn't a sustainable way of living. So now she enjoys her foods because it's sustainable and sensible eating.
Yes, I love it. And thank you for sharing that, because I always say extremes are easy, right? At least for a short amount of time. So what's difficult is the moderation, right? Is having a little of something. I get it. But when you allow yourself to do that, so it goes back to what we're talking about. If you don't eat enough healthy food, then when you eat the unhealthy food, you're going to overeat it. When you have eaten a lot of fruits and vegetables throughout the day, you've had your oatmeal, I guarantee you at night, listen, I've eaten entire boxes of Malamars. I will eat an entire box of Girl Scout cookies if I don't eat healthy, because I'm starving. We don't want to be starving. We don't want this unhealthy relationship with food, you guys, and unfortunately that's what is just pushed in our media. And fruit, if we truly believe that fruit is bad for us, or even orange juice, we need to clarify these things. Sure, you can take in, and listen, if you want to lose weight, you've got to cut out the juices for the most part and eat the orange instead of the orange juice, because, let me backtrack a little bit. Deborah was right on the money, too, when she talked about smaller plates. I bought the tiny little glasses for my boys and for everyone in the family. So, it's the 6-ounce, 8-ounce glasses, same thing with the plates. Such a smart thing, because your mind sees it differently. If you have a big glass, you're more likely to fill that up. And if it's the opposite effect is true, too. If I give my boys something healthy in a big glass or a big bowl, they see it as more. When it's a small glass, and full, they don't see it as much. So, such a smart little mental trick. So, Deborah, you are great point. And it goes both ways, healthy and unhealthy. Oh my gosh, you guys, this has been, if you want to get in shape, if you want to really start to figure out how to eat well, this show and what you guys have just put out there is amazing. By the way, share this. I should say this at the start of the show. If you can share this on social media, that will help, because we got guys, who was it, Ken. I want so many more Kens. I want Ken to keep coming, and I want more Kens and more success stories, and I want this to grow. And I want to hear so many more positive stories. We have such a great, strong group going here now. We got about 4 more minutes. So thank you. Yeah, go ahead, Quinn.
It looks like we have one last question from Ken to wrap up the show.
Sure.
He says he's already doing sit-ups and crunches, but are there any exercises that are better than others for belly fat?
There are no good exercises. Here's what's going to be very, well, it is what it is. We want to do crunches. You cannot reduce fat deposits by exercise, right? So no matter how many crunches I do, I'm going to get a six. We all have a six-pack. I think it was a Ken. We all have a six-pack. It's just hidden under body fat, right? So my rule of thumb is 10% of your workout time should be abdominal exercises, right? You want to do them because, hey, it's going to help keep your back strong, and yes, you're going to help bring out those muscles, but we need to burn off the abdominal body fat. Healthy eating is the most important part of that, right? The second part is cardio. You're going to burn off some through your cardio. Third point is strength training. You're going to raise your metabolism through full body strength training. Fourth and most important part of that formula are the crunches. So 10% of your workout time, if you are exercising for 30 minutes, I want 3 minutes, 5 minutes tops of crunches and ab exercises. I see far too many people doing far too much abdominal work at the gym and things like that when they should be doing cardio, when they should be doing strength training. So I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. Planks are great. By the way, oh my gosh, go to bowflex.com. Perfect way to end this. I think we just did, this week is coming out with an 8-minute, I'm sorry, it's a 5-minute burpee challenge, but it's got a bunch of different things built in there. So there are so many abdominal workouts on Bowflex's YouTube channel that you can follow. So keep it simple, mix it up, don't do too much. You want to do it, but 3 to 5 minutes, you guys, I don't have to do, and people who have, flat stomachs, it's through the healthy eating, it's through the exercise, and then it's a little bit of crunches and abdominal work. And that's a great point, and a great way to end it is that you don't want to do 10, 15, 30 minutes of abdominal exercises. I used to teach a 30-minute ab class in the city many years ago. It's like 20 minutes too long. So there you have it. All right. Oh my gosh, I'm tired. You guys tired me out because just so much great information here. And I love the way this show flows now is you guys jump in and you're helping each other again. I love the success stories. I love you sharing. I love you giving your information. You are a smart group. You are a really smart group, and I love it. And by you guys putting it out there, it's one thing for me to say it. It's another thing for Deborah and Mary and Ken and everyone out there, Jay, Rich, all the regulars. So there's strength in numbers. I say it every week. Thank you for being a part. If we don't get to your comments, questions during the show, we will get to them after. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of this. We're going to get bigger and better. Lots of good things to come, so stay tuned. We will be here each and every week, full hour. And thank you for watching. I'm Tom Holland, Bowflex Fitness Advisor. Have an amazing week. Challenge yourself. Do something that scares you this week, and I want to hear about next week. Have a great week, everybody.